do you want to be when you grow up? And it suddenly occurred to me that like that question implies one thing, and there's no reason for that. It doesn't have to imply one thing, and it also doesn't have to imply the rest of your life.
We're going to talk about the process of starting from an idea, a passion, to something that's concrete, whether it's a blog, a business, or even a music career, etc. Usually in our community, it doesn't seem like we are stressed about pursuing other avenues except for medicine, being a lawyer, etc. So it's actually important that we have role models that do exemplify what it means to be successful in a creative field.
So this is a recent issue. The person on the cover, his name is Anas. I admire Anas. He's one of the biggest, probably the biggest journalist in Africa. We actually online. All the 7 magazines I have are online and they are free. So I run this magazine.
I make music. That's what I've been doing for a long time. Rapping. I made 5 albums now, and in the last couple of years, I've started doing other things too. Hosted a show on the CBC called Q. I might host another show on the CBC. Hosted a hip-hop history documentary. Started making other kinds of music.
I have a site that I run, and it's called Black Foodie, and it's all about exploring food through a Black lens, as you explained. And what I'm really passionate about is connecting folks like us and making sure everybody knows about how good mandazi is and how to cook it, and knows that our food is amazing. The people that create it are super dope and worth talking to.
I started writing my the stories that I was seeing, that I knew of. I started talking about how Nairobi is actually pretty cool, and everything you have in Toronto is there. There's nothing that's here in Toronto that's not in Nairobi. Africa is big. It's such a nuance. You can't just talk about Africa or African children or as just like hungry people or war or poverty. So that's how I started putting actually like magazine together, not just a blog.
My passion was expressing myself creatively, having fun with language, with art, with music. You know, my parents never pushed me into music, but they also never kept me away from it. And I'm actually grateful because you have those kids that were put in piano lessons and they hated it, and you know, and they never pursued it.
A lot of my other family members like worked in the service industry, so they would tell me like, oh yeah, people always tell them to take that table, like they don't want to serve Black folks, like they don't tip, they don't do this. There's all these like negative stereotypes, and then like the more I looked into it, I saw like there were these thoughts that were out there, but then I knew that I had internalized it. Like I had never thought to go celebrate at an African or Caribbean restaurant. Like there was just all these things where I recognized like, oh wait, I could be like reading bell hooks, but afraid to bring Angela to class. Like there was like this disconnect, and that's what got me like looking into food and race and culture more critically, and like wanting to like fill those gaps.
If I have to learn how to design, and then I figured, okay, I'm not good at designing, I'm not good at details, but I'm good at ideas. So I figured I'll find somebody to design it. I'll just tell them what to do. I like photos, but I'm not such a good photographer. So I find somebody to take pictures. For me, what's important is that you're convinced with your idea, that you're prepared to learn anything.
Making my first album, I definitely had no idea what I was doing. So suddenly I had $17,000 to make an album. I'm in the studio in front of this console. I don't know what any of these buttons do. Basically everything I did, I would never do it, knowing what I know now. But the interesting thing about when you're at that stage of learning is it doesn't matter. Just enjoy the process every single day. That's what it looked like for me.
I loved Essence magazine, and I knew I wanted to go back to Essence Festival, which is like a huge African American music festival, but it also celebrates culture, and like they have like all the top chefs there, and I was wearing a big shirt that said Black Foodie everywhere I went. Like, I had like several like versions of this shirt, and I made sure I wore it everywhere. And people would stop me and be like, "What is that? Oh, you should do this. Oh, meet this chef. Oh, meet this restaurateur. Oh, come to my place." Like, people just responded immediately. So definitely, I would say like find people to help you fill those gaps, and then like market the hell out of what you're thinking of doing.
Basically talking about the skills that you had to develop from the beginning of what your passion, I guess, putting in place to where you are now.
I just enjoy food. I wasn't like a chef, or I hadn't owned a restaurant. I didn't have like a product or anything. So I was really like entering this space from a very different angle. So I had to learn a lot of things. I was good at putting myself out there. I was okay with that, having like taken on leadership roles as a student. And like having moved to different places several times where I was like, I had to start fresh. So I'm like, how do you motivate people when you're not necessarily paying them? You know, like how do you build a team when there's not a paycheck at the end, you know, because that's the stage I'm at right now.
Somebody said to me once that you actually have the greatest capacity for improvement in your areas of strength, not your areas of weakness. So from that first day looking at this console, having no idea what any of these buttons do, to now getting to the point where I can listen to a piece of music and really feel like I understand everything that's going on. I can hear the different instruments. I can hear where they are in the different frequency ranges. I can just hear, technically, musically, I understand that picture to the point where, like, maybe it's bad, maybe music is boring now. Like, I just can see it all. And there's still, still capacities to learn and to grow.
I focus on what I'm good at, and then I try to bring on board people who can actually people who are also passionate the same way I'm passionate about this, but in Photoshop, in pictures, in video, in different things. And so it's about learning what you're good at, learning how to bring along people who are good at other things that you need. And then you have a different challenge every day. You have to sit down like, okay, how do I solve this? Who do I know that can help me solve this?
For me, it's that struggle to take a thing from, yeah, okay, cool, it's fine, to, no, this has to be better than fine. Okay, like, it's B-ish, that's fine. In your real life, B-ish is not fine. That's your real life. That's the thing that you do and then you die. Like, that's your real life.
Just like self-doubt, like, can I really do this? Or like comparing like maybe my growth to another site's growth and thinking, oh damn, really? So just continue, like don't negotiate a lower, price, and don't undervalue what I have. That's something I think that was a weakness that I'm like now trying to overcome.
So the setback that you get, and then you have to go back and solve it in your head somewhere. Like, so was it the presentation? Did I not include enough numbers? Figuring out, okay, this setback happened. How can I make sure that next time I'm in this position, I'm ready?
With what I'm doing, it's so like in your face that it's black. It's black food. I'm black. I don't try to hide that at all. I've never been in a position where my phone is like, and every bad word you can think of that your parents wouldn't want you to say, I've been called. I never experienced like people knowing my name or like contacting me on like different social media accounts to make sure that I know how much they hate me. Like, so in addition to criticism, I got like an overwhelming like positive response from people who could understand that experience, and like people who just were excited that they saw pictures of black hands eating food. Like it's just not really out there,
I just wanted to ask, like, how do you make sure that your work or like the thing that you're doing it doesn't become too overwhelming or stressful that you might lose yourself in the process?
I don't know if there's ever like really like this like balance where it's like, oh, I'm on the phone doing this and I'm gonna commit 20 minutes to this. What I started doing now is like I'll invite people with me. Like if I know, okay, I'm gonna cook this thing and then take a bunch of pictures. I'm gonna invite my friends over to help me cook this thing and take a bunch of pictures. So then I can like socialize at the same time I'm doing work.
How do you guys deal with inclusivity? Like, do you try to include different people within what you're doing? Are you conscious of that? Are you trying to include people in that? Or is it more like, whoever it's for, it's for? Like, I'm trying to create something that's for us.
You have to have a niche audience that you're targeting or that you're feeding or that you're working with. And so for me, I made a conscious decision like, I grew up around East Africa. Most people are not East Africans. I understand these people and I have good contacts among those people. And so I decided that, I'm gonna target this community first, at least a percentage once our penetration in this audience is already established. And then you can give somebody, you can go south, you can go west. And that's why right now the magazine's only distributed in East Africa.
But how do you learn about your competitors? What are you doing different compared to your competitors?
If you have like a like page, you can go ahead and like choose to look at other like pages that are similar to yours and like track their growth. It'll show you. A lot of these people are willing to collaborate. Maybe they want some of your audience and you want some of theirs. So there's ways that you could both benefit from working with each other rather than just competing.
How do you deal with the challenge? Or what method and techniques can you like tell us about dealing with the challenge?
Okay, you have a problem, you brainstorm a potential solution, you pick one, and you make it work. The point is, you don't have to have the right answer to that challenge. You just have to make it work. You just push through until it works.
All of you guys for coming in today. This wouldn't have happened if you guys didn't show up. So thank you, and make sure you keep up with CARY.
Hopefully this was informative. Hopefully we can continue this. Hopefully in terms of like next steps, if you aren't already on our email list,